Hey everybody, it's Nick, it's Jay, it's Jeff, and we have completed the Cain't Git Bayou race at NOLA Motorsports Park outside of New Orleans.
That was my name, by the way.
Yeah, good one.
Thanks.
And I love New Orleans. I just love the scene, I love the music. I love the fact that you can turn on the radio and get into the culture with that beautiful South Louisiana accent.
And they did all the sort of traditional stuff. You can hear that infusing a lot of her work. If you like Kate Bush, Get Out of My House, and maybe even like Night of the Swallows, when you hear it most loudly. But she does the whole things with strings and violins, traditional tunes. So it's interesting to sort of hear her music now being taken back.
We don't usually start off with the winner of the race, but this time it was a little bit notable because it was our first ever Toyota Camry winner. Now Steve was a little on edge. He thought it was a real racy car.
Yeah, it's cheaty.
Yeah, well, it had a motor from a different Camry.
From a newer Camry,
Yeah. Well, and I think Steve was maybe missing the overall point that it was in fact a 99 Toyota Camry.
Yeah, well, Steve is also worried about Gremlins winning the race overall, so what are you going to do? Hella Sweet Half-Assed Racing brought their Volkswagen Beetle. They entered this in the full 24 at MSR, previously did not turn a single lap. So this was kind of a redemption. They did get out there this time. They didn't do a lot of laps, but they made it.
Here's a team who thought they'd figured out the biggest loophole. They showed up with a Miata.
Yeah.
And to make it lighter and faster, they cut the entire body off. Didn't bother reading the rules to find out whether that passed tech or not.
Yeah, and what people who build cars like this don't realize is you're not going to make an Ariel Atom out of a Miata. An Ariel Atom is not the Michelangelo's David hiding inside the marble block of a 94 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, so these things are called carts online. It's a whole thing, and I just, there was one in the news recently.
A local man who described his Acura Integra as a death cart has died.
Hella Sweet, a home improvement theme on a Mustang.
Hella Sweet, sort of. This Mercedes, which looked super racy, which was not super slow. It wasn't automatic, but they did a lot of landscaping. Now, the F40 Fiero came back, and this is a spectacular car.
So good.
Just so good. This time they redid it as the Gas Monkey Garage F40. The car was all painted black. It looked fantastic.
They totally hot-rodded their suspension, rear suspension particularly, from a guy on the internet that was selling these super crazy coilover kits.
Yeah, they had this problem last time, and this is sort of part of the pitfalls when you're dealing in the kit car / Fiero aftermarket
Mostly
realm.
Fiero.
Yeah. So what happened was one of their rear coilovers collapsed. One of the giant rear tires went up into the big fiberglass clamshell deck lid, knocked it loose. They lost control because now the ass end of the car is dragging on the ground. The axle fell out. They go off the track. They hit a big dirt bump. The bump makes the clamshell swing all the way over the top, and the windshield gets smashed with the F40 wing. You can probably figure out the picture. The car came back in a million shards of exploded fiberglass.
So sad.
And I think the team is like, I think we've done the F40 kit car thing. We're gonna be back with a BMW or something. Okay. See you guys later.
This race also saw the debut, long awaited, of the Half Aston.
Yeah.
So we've been hearing about this for a long time. We've been talking to these guys for a really long time. Jerry Ringley found this old DB7 just the shell.
Yeah.
And he decided to make it into a Lemons car. Now, of course, $500 my ass. Whatever. It's a DB7. He put a Ford small block in it, some Mustang 2 suspension parts, grafted it all together.
Yeah.
Thing was going to be totally awesome. We've been talking about this for a really long time. Now, when I first started running Sports Car International, the DB7 had just come out. It was the most spectacular car ever, right? And I always thought, man, that's the greatest thing. Someday when that's a cheap used car, I'm going to own one of those. That's my dream car. Just the other day, I was walking around and I saw one of those things. It was for sale. It was like $22,000. And I thought, no, absolutely no way. That's the worst thing ever. Anyway, so Jerry builds this car, and everybody on the internet is all up in arms because it's an Aston Martin and lemons and $500. My ass. Okay.
My ass.
I don't care what he spent on this car. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then it hit the track, and the performance was unparalleled.
One of our racers, Brian Check, is a United States Marine, and before this race, he called me up and said, hey, would it be okay if I brought some other Marines to, just be around and help with penalty enforcement stuff? And I said, yeah, sure, a couple of dudes, not a problem.
The Life of the Paddock Trophy went to Death Wheel Motorsport, and we had two different teams that were cooking for everyone, the Marines, the other racers, and they were both great. Only one of them, however, did not do burnouts in their chicken mobile in the middle of the night. We love stunting and sploding. We're back to letting you drive your vehicles around, but no burnouts in a chicken mobile.
That was their street car. Judge's choice went to nearly adequate racing in their Pinto wagon.
Nowhere near adequate.
It turns out it wasn't
so far.
super adequate. It actually didn't run very much at all, and they blew up their motor. And a team with another Pinto back from the old days, Swamp Things.
So you think they got a chance?
Oh yeah, they'll get one lap, man.
These guys used to race a Granada over at No Problem Raceway. They've changed to the Pinto platform. They had a motor. They got it for them, brought it to the track, helped them put it in. I think they made, what, 2 more laps?
2 more laps.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Heroic Fix went to our friends at The Resistance. This time they were racing their 62, 63 Dodge Dart, the Slant 6, dang old leaning tower of power. And as we've proved over and over again in Lemons, the internet says you cannot kill a Slant 6.
Oh,
Lemons
so
has
untrue.
killed like 40 of them.
Yeah.
These guys, they killed their Slant 6, and by just walking around the paddock, they discovered that the dudes with the chicken mobile had a line on a guy who had a Dodge truck with a Slant 6, 20,000 original miles, and then it showed up.
Yeah.
It was named Bud,
Yeah.
and it had been at the bottom of the ocean.
Let me just say, nobody has ever named a motor and written it on the side of the motor when the motor is in good shape. That
Yeah.
does not happen.
Yeah, and this was no exception to that. They didn't use a single part from Bud. And they wound up doing some hokey thing, replacing the bearing that had gone out on their original motor. That actually worked. They got out there and did way more laps than we thought was possible, so that was more than enough to win the Heroic Fix. They didn't actually finish the race,
No.
mind you, and now they've got a big rusty pile of Bud parts to deal with, but hey, they have a trophy. Heroic Fix.
Organizer's choice went to 11% racing in their Fiat X19.
Yeah.
It's an X19.
It's an X19.
Yeah.
That's our choice.
Love
Yep.
it. Now, the I Got Screwed trophy, well, let me back up a little bit. So, as you know, these Marines descended upon the territory, and so they infected Lemons, really. They gave some people some spirit, and they made them exercise, and that was a great little cross-pollination. Unfortunately, the cross-pollination worked the other way, too, which is to say their Cobra gunship, because it was at Lemons, wouldn't start when they were ready to leave. So like, bang, bang, bang. Oh, man, this is terrible. So they had to call the USMC version of AAA, which is some Marines in a Ford Focus who showed up, I guess, with a big battery pack. Jeff suggested they could get the helicopter flatbed.
Thought so.
Yeah, but in any case, so these poor guys were stuck there overnight. They had to camp. Apparently, there's this very persnickety regulation that if you have a helicopter gunship with live 50 caliber machine guns, you can't just leave it unattended overnight.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, these poor guys, they were stuck there, and we apologize from Lemons for actually breaking the, $25 million piece of war-fighting hardware.
The index of effluency went to Hi Hungry, I'm Dad, which of course is the ex-Spank Chrysler LeBaron rethemed with dad jokes. The joke going, Dad, I'm hungry. Hi Hungry, I'm Dad. They had a small problem where their wheels kept falling off. I went over there and I talked to them about it, and they said, yeah, we figured out what the deal is. We've totally fixed it. You'll never guess what happened next. Anyway, that car is so hoopty ass. It's got the slowest shifting automatic transmission, the squishiest suspension, the Landoest of roofs, and they did more than enough laps to earn the IOE.
All right, maggots, that's it. Lemons in a nutshell. Here it is.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America!
The weather started getting rough. The tiny calf was tossed. If not for the spirit of the idiot crew, the race car would be lost.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You got that 20 seconds? Go!